what's your perspective on HOAs in particular? I'll start with, and then we'll go into really the mortgage split, and I assume, and yeah, I'll start with HOAs first, and then I'll ask more questions in a second.
I mean, with HOA, like thankfully in Vegas it's not as much, it's like $74. But I know my parents have like a property, like a condo in LA, and that HOA is like close to $400.
Wow.
So it's not too bad, but I guess I understand like because I mean we don't really have a choice. Like a bunch of the houses in Vegas is in an HOA community where it's just like whether you want to pay kind of like a higher HOA or not, you know?
Is HOA the norm in Vegas?
Yeah, it's pretty much the normal. I think when we were looking, to buy a house, I think most of them are in an HOA. And even if, like I think when you think about HOA, you think about like gated community or like a pool or anything like that. But even like the houses around here that looks like it's just, being built and like they have different style, it still has an HOA. So I think it's the norm. Like I don't think we were able to find a house that is just, like a standalone and not having an HOA.
Have you ever run into issues or conversations with the HOA? And I'll preface that with I was on a work call today, and we were
Mm-hmm.
talking about weekend plans, and one of my coworkers was like, "Well, I have to pull some weeds because my HOA told me that we we have too
Yeah.
many weeds," and so she joked that she had kids that she was gonna hire to help pull the weeds
Oh
with her.
yeah.
But I was just like, man, like having an HOA. I mean, yeah, sure, you don't necessarily want weeds because it just visually
Mm-hmm.
doesn't look that great. But um,
Yeah.
yeah, have you ever run into any HOA issues yet in your time that you've been living there?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yep. And I feel
okay.
like, yeah, I feel like what your coworker is experiencing, it's the same like with everyone who's living in an HOA. Because one of the like what is it called? Like letters of I forgot what they call, but basically they sent us a letter saying that hey, your bushes need some like trimming because it looks wild. And we've had a couple of them. And thankfully, like with our HOA here, they give us like a couple weeks before they, fine us. So we just have to do it. I guess it's one of the responsibilities that you have to do if you own a house. And even if your house is not like in an HOA community, I think it's still good to like, take care of your lawn.
Right, 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 right.
Yeah.
And then have there like at the same time, obviously I'm coming from a probably more negative perspective on HOAs from from my experiences and conversations, but
Yeah.
uh I mean, what I assume you're paying into an HOA, which ideally is there to help your quality, like your neighborhood and your quality of life living in that community.
Hmm.
Have
Hmm.
you seen any noticeable improvements in some of the initiatives that they're taking on too, or is that pretty much null? And like, my perspective is more right
Mm,
than not. They force their neighbors to also
yeah.
take care of their lawns, I guess, right? But yeah, what else is there?
I don't know. I mean, I know like, when we moved in here, they gave us like a rule book or whatever. And like I think one of the other biggest thing that I mean, honestly, I don't really care about it, but I see that people are parking like in front of their own garage when you're not supposed to, and nobody really like find them or anything. I don't know if other neighbors report that specific neighbor, I mean, I don't, but I mean, I'm a kind of like a rule follower, so like, just follow the rule. Like, I mean, again, to me, it doesn't matter. It's your car. If you want to get fined and keep parking in front of your garage,
Yeah.
but I don't really see too much improvement. I mean, I've only been here for 2 years. Well, no, 2 years, no, a year ish. So I don't really see anything new that like catches my eyes. Um, but yeah, I know, like,
Yeah.
I understand like some of people's like experience with HOA are like super negative, but so far so good. I don't have a bad experience yet, but maybe if you ask me in a couple of years, I can tell
Yeah.
you a bunch.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
know.
I think it's the people who are on the HOA boards that just want to feel like they have the power to tell somebody to do something and, see something done.
Hmm.
Interesting dynamic, really. Um,
Yeah.
and with the mortgage,